In the annals of history, there are moments so profound, so unexpected, that they seem to defy the very fabric of fate itself. This is one such tale, where the course of human destiny hung in the balance, all because of a pair of shoes. It was the midst of the Second World War, a time of chaos and conflict that engulfed the globe. In the heart of Leningrad, now known as St. Petersburg, a weary soldier found himself on leave from the relentless horrors of the war front. He strolled down the familiar streets of his hometown, seeking solace amid the uncertainty that surrounded him. As he walked, a passing truck, laden with the casualties of a German bombing raid, caught his attention. These lifeless bodies were destined for a mass burial in a distant cemetery, their names and stories lost to the relentless march of war. But amidst this grim procession, one singular object stood out: a shoe. The soldier's heart skipped a beat as he gazed upon that shoe. It was hauntingly familiar, reminiscent of the one he had lovingly chosen for his wife before he went off to war. A profound sense of doubt and urgency washed over him. Should he continue his journey home, or should he investigate further? He summoned the courage to act and approach the soldier in charge of this gruesome truck full of corpses. With trembling words, he expressed his desire to identify the fallen soldier who wore these shoes. The officer conspicuously complied, and the soldier climbed on top of the truck to examine the lifeless bodies in front of him. And then, in a moment that defied all expectations, he found her, his beloved wife. In deep pain, he told his wife that he wanted to bury her, that he wanted to take her off the truck. The officer in charge, justifying his request, gave him permission, and together they removed the body from the truck. At that moment, he suddenly realized that his wife was breathing and alive. With determination coursing through his veins, he made a bold decision. He would save her. Her weak breaths served as a fragile promise of survival. He was able to take her to a makeshift hospital in the conditions of the time. Thanks to the tireless efforts of prolonged medical intervention, the woman defied the odds, defied death, and clung to life. She recovered. Her life miraculously returned to normal. But this story of astonishing twists and turns was far from over. Fate took another unexpected turn. Back from the brink of the afterlife, the woman found herself pregnant, and on October 7, 1952, she gave birth to a child who would shape the course of history: Russian President Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin. Augustine states that evil originates in man and is a consequence of man's freedom of choice. Similar to Augustine, who argues that it is the will that determines whether an action is good or evil, Hegel argues that evil develops in parallel to individual freedom. According to Kant, evil exists in human nature as a tendency, in other words, as a possibility. In Kant's philosophy, selfishness, self-interest, and similar motives are the source of evil. However, human beings have the power to oppose this tendency. When we think of evil people, names like Hitler often come to mind first. But if you could go back in time, would you kill baby Hitler? The answer to this question says a lot about you. It seems impossible for a human being to be bad or good on its own, without any factors. We cannot think of a person independently of the genes that are passed on to him or her, or the circumstances in which he or she was born and grew up, the hardships and suffering. When we look at the lives of serial killers, we see that many of them had painful childhood traumas. These examples are endless. Apart from the biological transmission of evil, we also need to focus on its environmental, philosophical, and psychological background. Thanks for watching. If you like, please do not forget to subscribe to my channel.